The bazaar on the alien world was alive with noise, color, and strange smells. Humans rarely came here, but one young man named Daniel walked calmly between tall alien traders. His eyes moved over glowing fruits, metallic tools, and crystal vials filled with liquid that seemed alive. Everyone stared at him. A human on this planet was rare, but a human walking without fear was even more rare. As Daniel passed through the crowd, he heard whispers in alien tongues. Some laughed at him, some warned each other, and some just watched with cold eyes. He ignored them all, keeping his calm. But then one voice cut through the chaos. "Stop, human!" A girl stood in his path. She was not human. Her skin shimmered like silver under the bazaar's lights, and her golden eyes glowed faintly. In her hands she held a small cup. The liquid inside was bright, glowing blue like the heart of a star. The crowd around them went silent. Even the merchants stopped shouting. Daniel paused, raising one eyebrow. "What's this?" The alien girl looked at him with a mix of fear and urgency. "This drink is forbidden. If you drink this, you'll never be human again." Her voice was soft, but every word carried weight. The crowd gasped. Old aliens shook their heads. Children hid behind their parents. The girl's warning was not just for him, it was for everyone to hear. Daniel stepped closer, curiosity burning in his eyes. "Never human again?" The girl nodded. Her hands trembled as she held the cup. "This drink binds your soul to powers that no human was meant to touch. It was made for warriors of my people. But for you, it will destroy everything you are." The marketplace was frozen in suspense. Dozens of alien eyes locked onto Daniel, waiting for his choice. Some whispered he was a fool. Others whispered he was brave. Daniel chuckled softly. "Everyone seems so afraid, but I've never been afraid of trying new things." He reached for the cup. The alien girl quickly pulled it back, her golden eyes wide. "No, you don't understand. If you drink this, you cannot return. You will lose yourself. You will lose your humanity." Daniel looked straight at her, his gaze steady. "Then maybe it's time I become something more." His words sent a ripple through the crowd. Some aliens shouted madness. Others hissed warnings. A few, however, leaned forward in excitement as if eager to witness what would happen. The girl's hands shook even harder. She whispered, almost begging now, "Don't do this. I'm warning you because once, long ago, someone else tried." "He did not survive," Daniel smiled faintly. "Then I'll just have to do better." Before she could stop him, he took the cup from her trembling hands. The liquid glowed brighter in his grip, as if alive, as if it knew what was about to happen. The crowd's silence deepened. Not even a breath could be heard. He lifted the cup slowly. The alien girl's eyes filled with tears. "Please, don't." But Daniel did not hesitate. He raised the cup to his lips and drank. The taste was unlike anything he had ever known. It was fire and ice at the same time. Sweetness and bitterness. It burned down his throat and filled his chest with light. His body shivered, his heart raced, and the air around him seemed to shift. The crowd gasped in unison. Some backed away. Others watched in awe. The girl's voice broke through the noise, filled with dread. "You fool. You drank it." Daniel lowered the empty cup and wiped his mouth with the back of his hand. His eyes flickered for just a second with the same golden glow as hers. The bazaar erupted. Some screamed, some shouted warnings, and some fell to their knees, chanting old words. The air was thick with fear and excitement. The alien girl looked at him, her expression a mix of horror and sorrow. "You don't understand what you've done. Your life is no longer your own. You are marked now. The ancient ones will see you. They will come for you." Daniel only smiled, though his body shook with the strange new fire inside him. "Let them come." His calm words struck the crowd harder than any roar. They whispered in panic. Some fled, others stayed, hungry to see what came next. The alien girl clenched her fists. "You're not brave. You're reckless. You think you can control what's inside that drink? You think you can resist what it wants from you?" Daniel met her gaze, steady and unbroken. "I've resisted worse." She stared at him, almost disbelieving. Then she whispered, almost to herself, "If you survive, you won't be human anymore." Daniel's voice was firm, almost defiant. Maybe that's the point. The crowd's whispers turned into fearful prayers. In the distance, a low rumble echoed across the alien city like thunder, but there was no storm. The girl's face went pale. She knew what that sound meant. Something had awakened. And Daniel, standing in the center of the bazaar with golden light flickering in his eyes. had just taken the first step into a destiny no human had ever dared to claim. The marketplace was still echoing with fear. Some aliens had already run away, others hid behind their stalls, but a circle of curious eyes remained fixed on Daniel. He stood there, chest rising and falling as the glowing liquid settled inside him. For a moment, it seemed like nothing had happened. Daniel breathed slowly and gave a small smirk.
See? Still human. But then a strange warmth spread through his veins.
His hands trembled, not from fear but from something alive moving inside him. The faint golden flicker returned to his eyes, and this time it stayed a little longer. The alien girl gasped, covering her mouth. "No, it's starting." Daniel felt his pulse pounding in his ears. The world around him looked sharper, every sound clearer. He could hear the stall owners whispering far behind him. He could smell the sharp scent of burning metal from a forge 2 streets away. Every sense was suddenly stronger, almost painfully so. His body swayed, and for the first time he stumbled. The girl rushed forward, catching his arm. Her touch was cold like starlight, but steady. "Don't fight it," she whispered. "If you resist, it will tear you apart." Daniel gritted his teeth. "What is this?" The girl's golden eyes looked straight into his. "It is the bond. My people call it the spirit fire. It chooses warriors, but only those born for it. You are human. It should kill you, yet it hasn't." The crowd erupted in murmurs. Some shouted that he was cursed, others that he was chosen. An old alien elder stepped forward, leaning on his staff. His voice shook as he spoke. "It begins again. The prophecy, the outsider who drinks the fire." Daniel tried to push the voices away. His chest burned, his veins glowed faint blue under his skin, and for a moment he thought he might explode. But then everything changed. The burning turned into strength. His back straightened. His trembling stopped. His vision sharpened even more until he could see the smallest crack in a stone wall across the market. He lifted his hand without thinking, and the air shimmered faintly around his fingers. The aliens gasped again. One of them whispered, "He already bends the field." The girl looked terrified. "You shouldn't be able to do that, not yet. Not so fast." Daniel lowered his hand, staring at it as though it belonged to someone else. He felt the pulse of something ancient inside him, something that was both terrifying and exhilarating. "What happens now?" he asked quietly. The girl's face was pale. "Now, the world will notice you. You are no longer invisible. The spirit fire marks its vessel. Every hunter, every watcher, every old enemy of my people will sense it. They will come." As if to prove her words, the ground trembled faintly. The merchants looked around nervously, and birds scattered from the rooftops. Somewhere far away, a horn sounded, low, echoing, and filled with warning. Daniel clenched his fists. "Let them come. I didn't drink to hide." The alien girl stepped back, her expression torn between anger and awe. "You're reckless. You don't understand what you have become. You're not fully human anymore. Can you even feel it? The way your body changes?" Daniel paused. She was right. His heartbeat was slower but stronger. His muscles felt heavy with energy, yet he was lighter on his feet. He could hear her heartbeat too, fast, panicked. He whispered half to himself, "I'm changing." The elder's voice broke through the silence. "Human, hear me. You carry a burden greater than you know. The spirit fire is not just power. It is a chain. It will call to others. You will be hunted." Daniel looked around at the fearful faces. For the first time he saw not just fear, but also something else. Hope. Some aliens stared at him as if he was a savior, others as if he was a curse. The girl gripped his arm again, harder this time. "Listen to me. You must leave the bazaar before it is too late. Already the hunters will sense you. Already they will come." Daniel's jaw tightened. "If they come, I'll fight them. You don't even know how to use the power yet." She snapped. "It will consume you if you keep acting like this." But Daniel only gave her the same calm smile. "Then teach me." The words froze her in place. She had expected defiance, arrogance, maybe even fear. But not this. She looked into his glowing eyes, saw his determination, and felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Doubt in her own warnings. The ground trembled again, louder this time. Dust fell from the stalls. The crowd panicked, running in every direction. The elder dropped to his knees, muttering prayers. The girl's eyes widened in horror. She knew what that tremor meant. They're already here. Daniel turned toward the sound, his eyes shining brighter than before. He didn't flinch. He didn't run, the alien girl whispered, her voice shaking. You don't understand. This isn't just a test. The hunters who come now, they kill without mercy. Daniel took a deep breath. For the first time, he didn't feel fear. He felt ready. His voice was calm, steady, and strong. Then let them see what a human can become. And as the tremors grew into thunder, the bazaar prepared for a storm unlike anything it had ever faced. The bazaar lay in ruins after the tremors. Stalls had fallen, fruits rolled across the ground, and many aliens had fled into the alleys. Only a few remained: the old elder, the alien girl, and Daniel, who now stood at the center with golden light faintly glowing in his eyes. The girl's hands shook as she pulled him away from the broken stalls. We don't have time. They will track you now. You need to understand what you've done. Daniel followed, calm but alert. Then tell me. Enough riddles. What is this spirit fire really? She glanced around nervously before leading him into a shadowed corridor behind the market. The air was cooler there, quiet except for their footsteps. The girl finally stopped and turned to him. Her voice was low, urgent. Long ago, before my people built cities, before we joined the stars, there was war. Not between us, but between us and something greater. Beings that fed on life itself. Daniel frowned. Predators? She shook her head. No, worse, they were shadows with hunger that never ended. My ancestors were desperate. They created the spirit fire, a living force made from pieces of themselves. It was meant to turn ordinary warriors into more than flesh and blood. A weapon strong enough to fight the shadows. Daniel listened carefully. The golden glow in his eyes flickered brighter. And it worked? Her face tightened. Yes, it worked. The shadows were pushed back. But the cost was high. Every warrior who drank the fire lost something. Some lost their sanity, others lost their very souls. They became half creature, half weapon. They were not the same anymore. They were changed. Daniel tilted his head. So that's why you warned me. You thought I'd lose myself. Her golden eyes softened for a moment. No human has ever touched it. Your kind was never meant to. You should be dead already, and yet you stand. For the first time there was a hint of awe in her voice. Daniel leaned against the stone wall, his heartbeat steady, though the power inside him pulsed like a restless beast. So what am I now? The girl hesitated. Her words were careful. If the fire accepts you, you will grow stronger. Faster than any of us ever did. But you will also be marked. The shadows were not destroyed. They were only sleeping. And if they sense the fire in you, they will awaken. The air grew colder as she spoke, as if her words themselves carried a chill. Daniel clenched his fists, staring at the faint blue glow running under his skin. So I'm a beacon, he said quietly. A signal for something dark, she nodded grimly. Yes, and the hunters who felt your awakening. They serve those shadows even now. The silence stretched. For the first time, Daniel's calm expression hardened. He had thought this was just a strange drink, a dangerous gamble. Now he realized it was more, a chain pulling him into a war that had started long before he was born. The girl looked down at her trembling hands. Do you know why I stopped you? Why I begged you not to drink? Daniel raised an eyebrow. Because you didn't want to see another fool die. Her golden eyes met his. Because my brother drank it once. He thought he was strong enough. He wasn't. I watched him burn from the inside. I watched him lose his mind. I couldn't stop him. I couldn't save him. For a moment, the fire inside Daniel seemed to slow, as if listening. He saw the pain in her face, the memory that haunted her. He spoke softly. And now you think I'll share his fate. Tears shimmered in her eyes, but she didn't look away. Yes, and I don't want to see it again. Daniel pushed away from the wall, his eyes glowing faintly brighter. Then maybe I'll prove you wrong. Maybe your brother wasn't the last story. Maybe I'll write a new one. Before she could answer, the elder appeared at the end of the corridor, his staff tapping the stone floor. His ancient eyes burned with both fear and recognition. Human, he said in a grave voice. You carry the fire of the ancients. Do not fool yourself. It will test you. It will tempt you. And when the shadows awaken, you will be the first they hunt. Daniel's jaw tightened. Then let them come. I won't run. The elder studied him for a long moment, then nodded slowly, as if both accepting and fearing the answer. So be it, but know this, the fire does not choose without reason. If it kept you alive, it means you are part of something greater. Whether savior or destroyer, only time will tell. The girl whispered urgently, We must move. The hunters will arrive soon. We can't stay here. Daniel looked at her, then at the old elder, and finally down at his own glowing hands. The weight of their words pressed on him, but beneath it all was a spark of defiance. I didn't come here looking for destiny, he said firmly. But if destiny found me, I won't hide from it. The elder's eyes narrowed. Then prepare yourself, human. The shadows will wake, and when they do, you will face the truth of what you have become. In the distance, the sound of war horns echoed again, closer this time. The girl's face paled. They're here, she whispered. Daniel's golden eyes burned brighter. His voice was steady, calm, unafraid. Good, he said. Then it's time they learned what a human really is. The horns outside grew louder, echoing through the broken bazaar. Dust fell from the rooftops as something heavy moved in the distance. The aliens who had not yet fled now dropped to their knees, whispering prayers in their strange language. The elder gripped his staff, his old eyes trembling. Daniel stood tall at the center, the faint golden glow in his eyes stronger than before. He felt the spirit fire moving inside him, restless, demanding. His blood burned, yet he did not collapse. Instead, he felt power pulsing through every muscle, every breath. The alien girl tugged his arm, her voice sharp with fear. We need to run. You don't understand what's coming. Daniel didn't move. He looked at her calmly. I understand enough. Whatever is coming, it's after me. Running won't change that. Her golden eyes narrowed. Then at least let me teach you to control it before you burn yourself alive. Daniel's jaw tightened, but he nodded once. Then show me. She took a deep breath, stepped closer, and pressed her hand against his chest. The moment her fingers touched his skin, the spirit fire inside him flared. Daniel gasped as a rush of light exploded behind his eyes. He felt her thoughts, her fear, her memories all pouring into him. He saw flashes, her brother screaming as the fire consumed him, the shadows crawling from the stars, her people building weapons from their own life force. He pulled back, gasping. What was that? The girl's face was pale. The bond. The fire connects. It doesn't live inside you, it lives through you. It listens. It waits. Daniel clenched his fists. The air around him rippled faintly. A nearby stone cracked as if struck by invisible force. The elder's voice broke the silence. He bends the field already. Without training. Impossible. But Daniel only looked at his hand, shocked yet fascinated. He had not pushed the stone. He had only thought of it breaking. The girl grabbed his wrist. Stop. Every time you use it without control, it grows stronger. It will feed on you until nothing human remains. Daniel met her gaze, calm but unyielding. Then I'll learn to control it faster. Before she could argue, the ground shook again. This time a massive shape emerged at the far edge of the bazaar. The crowd screamed as armored hunters stepped into view, tall, monstrous figures with jagged blades and eyes glowing red. They moved with the certainty of predators, their heavy feet cracking stone. The elder whispered in terror. The shadows hunters. They have come. The girl's grip on Daniel's arm tightened. You can't fight them yet. You don't know how. Daniel stepped forward, his golden eyes burning brighter than ever. Then I'll learn now. The hunters roared, rushing forward. The ground shook beneath their charge. Daniel raised his hand, unsure what he was doing, but the fire inside him surged. A wave of invisible force exploded outward. Stalls shattered, dust filled the air, and two hunters were thrown back like broken dolls. The bazaar froze in shock. Even Daniel stared at his own hand, stunned. I did that. The girl's face was pale with disbelief. You shouldn't be this strong. Not this fast. But there was no time for questions. More hunters rushed in, their blades slicing through stone. Daniel dodged faster than he thought possible. One blade cut the air where his neck had been, but he moved like lightning, his instincts sharper than ever. He countered, grabbing the hunter's wrist. To his shock, his grip crushed the creature's armor like paper. The hunter screamed as Daniel hurled it across the street. The crowd gasped again. The elder whispered, "The fire has chosen him." But even as Daniel fought, he felt the burning inside grow wilder. The more he used it, the more it demanded. His vision flickered, and for a moment, his reflection in a broken shard of glass didn't look human at all. The girl saw it too. Her voice cracked as she shouted, "Stop! You're losing yourself!" Daniel froze for just a heartbeat. The hunters surrounded him now, red eyes glowing, blades raised. He could feel the fire urging him to unleash more, to burn, to destroy, to let go of everything human. He clenched his fists, breathing hard. "No, I control you." "You don't control me." The fire pulsed inside, resisting, but Daniel forced himself to stay steady. He struck again, but this time not with blind power. He focused, guided. A wave of controlled force sent the hunters crashing back without shattering the bazaar around him. The girl's eyes widened in shock. You focused it. Already? Daniel smirked faintly, though sweat dripped from his forehead. Guess I'm a fast learner, the hunters growled, regrouping, their red eyes locked on him. The elder raised his staff, shouting, "They will not stop. They will keep coming until the fire consumes you or you destroy them all." Daniel stood tall, chest rising and falling, golden fire flickering in his eyes. He felt stronger, faster, sharper than ever before. But he also felt the dangerous truth. The more he used this power, the more human he lost. He glanced at the girl, who still looked torn between fear and awe. If this is what it means to not be human anymore, then maybe humanity was just the beginning. The hunters roared again, charging for the final strike. Daniel stepped forward, the golden fire burning brighter, ready to meet them head-on. The bazaar would not forget what happened next. The bazaar was filled with smoke and dust. Broken stalls lay scattered, and the few aliens who hadn't fled hid behind walls, peeking out with wide, fearful eyes. Daniel stood in the middle of the chaos, his fists clenched, his golden eyes burning like fire. The hunters lay broken around him, but their red eyes still glowed faintly, as if death itself refused to claim them. The alien girl ran to his side, her breath sharp. "This is only the beginning. These hunters are scouts. The true one will come now." Daniel's jaw tightened. Then let him come. A heavy silence fell over the ruins. The air grew cold, colder than it had been before. Then from the far end of the bazaar, footsteps echoed, slow, deliberate, each one like thunder on stone. The crowd gasped. Some fell to their knees, others turned and ran. Even the elder clutched his staff tightly, his face pale with dread. The hunters stepped aside, creating a path. Out of the shadows walked a towering figure, wrapped in dark armor that shimmered like black glass. His helmet was carved with cruel spikes, and in his hand he carried a massive blade glowing with crimson heat. His presence alone made the ground tremble. The girl whispered, almost choking on the words. "The warlord of shadows." Daniel stared, unflinching. "Finally, someone who doesn't hide behind soldiers." The warlord's voice boomed like rolling thunder. "Human, you drank the fire, foolish, reckless. You are not chosen, you are stolen." Daniel tilted his head. "Yet here I stand. And your hunters don't." The warlord's glowing red eyes narrowed behind his mask. "You think this is victory?" They were shadows, nothing more. "I am the storm," the elder shouted from the side, his voice trembling. "Do not fight him. You cannot win." But Daniel didn't move back. He felt the spirit fire inside him flare, restless, hungry. The warlord's presence made the power boil in his blood, as if it recognized an ancient enemy. The girl grabbed his arm desperately. "Listen to me. You don't know what he is. My people fought his kind for centuries. Entire armies couldn't kill him." Daniel looked at her calmly. "Then maybe they weren't human." The warlord lifted his blade, the crimson glow brightening. "Your arrogance will end here." He moved with terrifying speed for his size. His blade came down in a fiery arc. Daniel barely raised his arm in time. But instead of being cut down, the spirit fire surged through him and his skin glowed. The blade struck him, and sparks flew as if steel had met steel. The crowd gasped in disbelief. Daniel staggered back but did not fall. His arm burned, but it was still whole. Daniel smirked faintly. "Not bad, but you'll need more than that." The warlord roared, the sound shaking the buildings. He swung again and again, each strike powerful enough to shatter stone. Daniel moved faster, dodging, blocking, every motion guided by the fire. His body felt lighter, sharper, as though time itself slowed for him. But every clash came with a price. The fire inside him grew hotter, more demanding. His vision flickered. For a moment he saw his reflection in a shard of glass. His face looked less human, more like something forged of light and shadow. The girl saw it too. "Daniel, don't lose yourself," she cried. He gritted his teeth, forcing the fire under his control. "Not yet." The warlord struck again, but this time Daniel countered. He slammed his fist into the ground. A shockwave erupted, cracking the stone and sending the warlord stumbling back. The crowd screamed. Dust and debris filled the air. The warlord steadied himself, growling. "Impossible. You wield it as if born to it." Daniel stood tall, chest rising and falling, golden fire spilling from his eyes. "Maybe that's because I don't fear it. The girl's heart pounded as she watched. She had seen many warriors drink the fire, but none had lasted this long. None had fought like this. Daniel was different, and that difference terrified her. The warlord lifted his blade high, crimson fire swirling around it. Then die with your false courage. The blade descended, glowing brighter than ever. Daniel caught it with both hands. The spirit fire inside him roared, filling his veins with blazing energy. For a heartbeat, the entire bazaar lit up with golden and crimson light clashing together. The ground shook violently. Buildings cracked. The air screamed. Daniel shouted, his voice echoing with something more than human. I am not afraid of you. With a surge of strength, he pushed back. The warlord was thrown off balance, stumbling several steps. The crowd gasped. No one had ever forced the warlord to retreat, not once in centuries. The elder whispered, shaking his head in disbelief. The prophecy. It's true. The outsider stands against the shadow. The warlord's crimson eyes blazed brighter. He steadied himself and laughed, a sound like grinding stone. Good. At last, a challenge. Daniel's hands shook, his body burning with power he barely controlled. He knew he couldn't keep this up forever. The fire wanted more, wanted him to surrender completely. If he let go, he feared he would lose what was left of his humanity. But he couldn't show weakness. Not now, not with everyone watching. He straightened, his eyes glowing brighter. Then let's see how long your storm lasts against a human who doesn't break. The warlord roared again, raising his blade for another strike. The battle between shadow and fire had only just begun. The bazaar became a battlefield. Smoke and fire rose into the night sky as Daniel and the shadow warlord clashed again and again. Golden light from Daniel's eyes cut through the darkness, while the warlord's crimson blade burned like molten rock. Every strike shook the ground. Every shockwave sent debris flying. Aliens who had once only watched from the shadows now gathered on rooftops, trembling as they witnessed something they had never dared to dream. A human facing the terror that had haunted their people for centuries. The alien girl stood near the edge of the ruins, her heart racing. Every time Daniel blocked a strike or countered with his glowing fists, she wanted to scream at him to stop, to run. But she couldn't move. She couldn't look away. There was something in him that terrified her, and something that made her hope. The warlord laughed between swings, his voice deep and echoing. You are strong human, stronger than I expected, but your fire is wild. It will consume you before it consumes me. Daniel's breath was sharp, his body trembling as he forced the spirit fire under control. He had never felt this much power. It was like holding lightning in his veins, bright, fierce, and always one step from exploding. I'm still standing, he said through gritted teeth. The warlord slammed his blade into the ground. A wave of crimson fire spread across the plaza, melting stone, burning air. Daniel raised his arms and golden light formed a shield around him. The flames crashed into it, roaring like a storm, but he held his ground. The crowd gasped as the shield held. Daniel staggered afterward, his body shaking from the strain. His vision flickered. Half the time he saw the world as a man, the other half as something not human at all. The girl shouted from behind him, her voice breaking. Daniel, you're slipping. Don't give it everything, it will eat you alive. But Daniel only tightened his fists. If I don't give it everything, we all die. The warlord roared again and charged, his massive blade slicing through the air. Daniel met him head on. Golden fists clashed against crimson steel, the collision sending a shockwave so strong it shattered nearby buildings. Dust and fire filled the air, blinding everyone. For a moment, the world went silent. Then the dust cleared. Daniel and the warlord stood locked in a deadly struggle, blade against fist, their eyes blazing. The spirit fire inside Daniel screamed, urging him to unleash more, to let go of what little humanity he still held. He felt his heart slowing, his breath turning shallow, his body becoming something else. No, he whispered fiercely to himself. I decide what I am. With a roar, he pushed the blade back, his fist glowing brighter than ever. The warlord staggered. For the first time, his crimson eyes flickered with doubt. The elder, watching from the side, whispered in awe. He bends the fire but does not fall. He is neither human nor shadow. He is something new. The warlord snarled, furious now. Enough games. He lifted his blade, summoning a storm of crimson flames that spiraled into the sky. The ground cracked beneath him. The air grew heavy with dark energy. Daniel knew what was coming. One strike, one final blow that would end everything. The girl screamed, "Run!" You can't take this. But Daniel didn't run. He closed his eyes, steadying his breath. He remembered Earth, his home, his people, the laughter of children in the streets, the simple taste of food, the sound of rain. He remembered what it meant to be human, and he remembered the girl's brother who had burned away. No, he said softly, I won't lose myself. Not like him. The fire inside him flared, but this time he didn't fight it, and he didn't surrender either. He guided it, shaped it like holding a raging river inside a narrow path. His body glowed brighter, golden flames wrapping around him without consuming him. The warlord's blade descended, carrying the weight of destruction. Daniel stepped forward and punched. The clash lit up the sky. Golden and crimson fire collided, shaking the world. A shockwave rolled through the city, knocking aliens off their feet, rattling windows miles away. For a moment, the night became day, the sky torn apart by light. When the explosion faded, silence fell. The warlord stumbled back, his armor cracked, his blade dimming. He growled in disbelief. No, impossible. No one can withstand the shadow's blade. Daniel stood tall, smoke rising from his fists, his golden fire flickering but still burning. He was exhausted, his body trembling, but he was alive. He looked at the warlord with steady eyes. I told you.
Humans don't break, the crowd erupted in gasps and cries.
Some shouted in joy, others in fear. The elder fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. The prophecy is true. He walks between two worlds. The girl ran to Daniel's side, her eyes wide. She touched his arm, feeling the heat of the fire beneath his skin. You did it. You survived. Daniel gave a faint smile, though his eyes glowed faintly alien. Not just survived. I'm still me. But deep down he knew the truth. He wasn't the same. He could never go back. He was human and something else. Something that even the warlord feared. The warlord straightened, his crimson eyes narrowing. This battle is not over. You are marked now. The shadows will hunt you. They will never stop. Daniel's gaze was calm, his voice steady. Then let them come. And for the first time in centuries, the warlord hesitated. The air still shimmered with the aftershock of the battle. Smoke drifted between broken stalls and firelight danced across shattered stone. The bazaar was ruined, yet alive with whispers. Whispers of a human who had stood against the warlord of shadows and did not fall. Daniel stood at the center, his chest rising and falling with each heavy breath. His fists were scorched, his veins still glowing faint blue. The golden fire in his eyes had dimmed but not vanished. He was exhausted but not broken. The alien girl stood beside him, her hand resting on his arm as if to make sure he was real. Her golden eyes trembled. You faced him, and lived. Do you understand what that means? High people will speak of this for generations. Daniel gave a tired smile. Stories are nice, but right now I just need to breathe. The elder stepped forward slowly, leaning on his staff. His voice was rough, heavy with awe. The prophecy is fulfilled. The outsider has taken the fire and stood against the shadow. Yet he hesitated, eyes narrowing. You are no longer just human, are you? Daniel looked at his hands. They still glowed faintly, the fire deep within refusing to fade. He flexed his fingers, feeling strength far beyond anything natural. His voice was low. No, I'm not the same anymore. Silence fell again. Even the wind seemed to pause, carrying the weight of his words. The girl looked at him with a mixture of fear and hope. You are something more. But what will you become? Daniel's gaze was steady. That depends on me. Faraway horns sounded again, not in triumph but in warning. The warlord had vanished into the shadows, but his words lingered. The hunt will never stop. Daniel knew this wasn't the end. The shadows had seen him. They would come for him. They would come for anyone near him. The elder's voice trembled. You must leave this place. The longer you stay, the more danger you bring. Daniel nodded slowly. I know, the fire is a beacon. They'll follow me wherever I go. He turned to the girl. You should stay. You'll be safer without me. But she shook her head fiercely, her golden hair shimmering in the dim light. No, I warned you once, and you didn't listen. Now I see why. You're not meant to fight this alone. If you walk into the dark, I walk with you. Daniel looked at her, surprised. Why? You don't owe me anything. Her voice softened. Because my brother couldn't survive the fire, but you did. You carry what he could not. If I stay behind, then his death means nothing. I won't let that happen. For the first time since the battle began, Daniel's heart softened. He gave her a faint smile. Then I guess we go together. The elder shook his head but did not argue. His old eyes were wet with tears. Go then, both of you. The galaxy is wide and the shadows will come. But perhaps this time, there will be hope. Daniel turned to the crowd, to the dozens of alien faces staring at him. Some looked at him with awe, others with fear. He raised his voice so all could hear. I am not what I was. I am not fully human anymore. But I will not be your curse. I will be your shield. If the shadows come for me, I'll meet them head on. And if they come for you, they'll have to face me first. The crowd erupted in murmurs. Some bowed their heads. Others whispered his name as if it were already legend. The girl stood taller beside him, her eyes glowing with pride. Then it begins. A new story. Daniel looked to the sky, where dark clouds gathered unnaturally fast, as if the galaxy itself was watching. His voice was calm, steady, unafraid. Let them come. I'll show them what humanity means, even if I'm no longer human. The wind shifted, carrying away the smoke. For the first time, Daniel felt the weight of his choice. He would never walk the same path again. He could never return to Earth, never sit quietly among his people. He was marked now, caught between two worlds, human and something greater. But he was not afraid. The girl slipped her hand into his, her voice quiet but firm. Beyond human, beyond alien, something new. Daniel squeezed her hand gently, golden fire flickering once more in his eyes. Something the shadows can't destroy. The elder lifted his staff, his voice carrying across the ruins. Witness this day. The outsider has crossed the line between man and legend. He stands not as human, not as alien, but as the bridge between worlds. The stars above shimmered faintly, as if answering. And so, with the ruins of the bazaar behind them and the shadow of war ahead, Daniel and the alien girl stepped forward into the unknown. He was no longer fully human. She was no longer just a guardian of secrets. Together they carried the hope and the fear of a galaxy on the edge of awakening. For the first time, the shadows would face not just an alien flame, but something far more dangerous. They would face humanity. Beyond humanity,